Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be telling you guys about 5 tips, tricks, and features that you might not have known about from the 3 new vehicles that were released today as a part of like the second update rendition of the Cunning Stunts DLC. I don't know what to call these, like tunable weeks or whatever they are, but 3 new vehicles were added: the Vapid Contender, the MTL Dune, and the Sprunk Buffalo S, and I'm going to be talking to you guys once again about 5 really cool things that you might not have known about. And if you can take away one new thing from this video, then I'm definitely going to be considering it a success. So with all the way, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump straight into it and let's get it started. Okay, so up first, let's talk about the bullet resistance and some of the armored features of 2 of the new cars, the Vapid Contender and the Dune. We're going to start with the Contender. So on the website, the Contender is not advertised as an armored vehicle or having any special bulletproof capabilities. And what's cool about it is it's only $250,000 as well. And it turns out that when you buy this vehicle, you might actually be getting a little bit of extra protection than you might have actually bargained for, which is cool. So let's check out how bulletproof resistant the Vapid Contender is. Obviously, you can choose to put bulletproof tires on here if you want. It's not obviously going to come standard. Let's start with the side windows, and I know I did this test in single player, but I felt that it would be applicable to do it in online as well. Who knows if Rockstar made any changes to the Contender since we did that test. So I think that it was interesting to find out, as well as I wanted to make a few corrections that I had stated in that video. So the side windows on the Contender are not very strong at all. One silenced pistol bullet will rip straight through them. So those are clearly not bullet resistant in any way. The back windshield is slightly bullet resistant. It cracked on the first bullet, and then it took about 3 or 4 more for it to completely shatter. So it had some bulletproof resistance, a little bit better than the side windows, which was absolutely 0. But as far as that, that's not impressive. What we're impressed with here is the front windshield, which I was using the heavy pistol for this test, so I'm not sure if that had any implication on it, but it started with like 7 or 8 rounds before it actually ended up shattering. And I've even had tests before this that, lasted 12 or 13 rounds before it eventually shattered. So I'm not sure if it's random. I'm not sure if it has to do with the type of gun you're using or shooting at, but there is bulletproof resistance in the windshield of the Vapid Contender, which is so cool. Not only did this test today prove that, but also in the files of the game, it states that the Contender does have some bulletproof capabilities to it, and it does happen to be in the front windshield. So like I said, that's pretty cool because it's not advertised on the website or in the description, and obviously the vehicle isn't like armor plated, so you wouldn't get the idea that there's any bullet resistance to it. It is a beefy big truck, but at the same rate, I wouldn't expect it to have had this bullet resistance capability, which is super cool. So if you're on the fence about purchasing the Contender, this might tip you over the edge and turn the scales because it's a pretty cool car, and it's also got a nice little surprise in terms it might keep you safe in battle. So anyways, let's move on to our second vehicle that we're going to be testing today, and that is the Dune. So the Dune has very interesting bullet resistance capabilities too. If we start with the front windshield, you'll see that it has worse bullet resistance capabilities than the Contender, shattering in about 5 or 6 rounds, and then in round immediately after that, you're able to just blow through the windshield. So in terms of, I guess, better armor in the windshield, the Dune is slightly worse than the Contender. However, where the Dune is going to shine comes in its side windows. Remember, if we go back to the Contender, there was no protection on the side. However, the windows on the side of the Dune take 5 to 6 to 7 rounds before they even start to shatter, which is really nice. Now, obviously, it's not going to fully protect you, but it's certainly better than having no window there like you would have in the Contender. And even that small window that's kind of adjacent to it, it has some nice bulletproof protection as well, lasting 5 or 6 rounds before completely shattering. So that's a really nice feature of the Dune. Basically, you're going to be getting better protection from the side, worse from the front, and the exact opposite in the Contender, better from the front, extremely worse from the side and from the back. So now let's talk about another cool feature that actually came on the Dune, and that is the bulletproof tires. That's right. So because this is a Pegasus vehicle, we lack the ability to take it into the Los Santos custom shop, and because of that, we can't put bulletproof tires on it. That's pretty simple. So Rockstar kind of heard our cries and our calls about wanting this to be a thing, and because of that, the Dune actually comes with bulletproof tires. That's right. You can shoot these things all day long. They're not going to break. They're not going to rip open. So that's what I'm talking about. It's awesome because this vehicle would be nearly worthless if it didn't have those bullet-resistant tires. It'd be so easy to take out, but now that it has this, you can use it in a more freelance style way in free mode and not have to worry so much about spinning out or losing control because you're running on all 4 metal wheels instead of tires. So that's a pretty cool feature, and I'm really glad that Rockstar decided to include that into the game because that would have been a huge bummer if they had decided to leave that out. And that's a great new feature on the Dune. Okay, up next, let's talk about another new feature for the Dune. And you guys might not believe this, but you can actually use the Dune in off-road races. That's right. How cool is that? So the Dune is originally a service vehicle. It goes into the service category like many of the other Pegasus vehicles or service-style trucks. However, for whatever reason, you can use this in off-road races, which is super cool. So basically, if you want to use this in an off-road race, you need to make sure your race is, has an off-road category, and then you just need to scroll over to Dune, and it should be there waiting for you, which is super cool. You can even choose between the different liveries that you want, whether you want Fukuru or whether you want Globe Oil. So that's a nice little add-on as well. I thought that was so nice of Rockstar to do. Now, as we touched on earlier in my speed test video, you're not going to want to use this vehicle in the races because, let's be honest, it's a service vehicle competing in this off-road class. It's not going to do very well. Let's just say that. So you're going to get smoked by pretty much everyone. And I don't know if it was just me, but I was having trouble getting the checkpoints. So I don't know if it's something with the Dune or my bad driving skills. It's most likely that one. But at the same rate, I thought that was pretty nice. Now, another unique feature is if you want to use the Dune in races for whatever reason, you don't have to pay for it. That's right. Even if you don't own a Dune, because it's one of the stock cars in the off-road category, you can use it without buying it. So this is a great trick that you can use to test out if you want to buy the Dune and check out all the cool liveries without having to spend $1.3 million or $1.4 million, depending on what livery you get. So that's a really nice trick that you can use. It's free in the off-road races, which is super nice and is ultimately a really cool way to try out the Dune, and also use it in off-road races if you really want to challenge yourself competing with some of the other off-road vehicles, bikes, and a whole lot more. Okay, up next, let's talk about a weird bug going on with the Dune as well. For some people, it's actually spawning and being allowed in some people's garages. So I saw this on multiple websites like the GTA forums. They were talking about why this is happening, why the Pegasus vehicle, the MTL Dune, is spawning in their garage. And it turns out that it's a pretty common glitch. In fact, I think it actually happened on my friend Austin the Saints Fans channel. I'll leave a link to that full video in the description if you want to check it out. But here's just a highlight. It was literally spawning in his garage, which is crazy because the Dune is like almost small enough to fit in the garages, but it's still like awkwardly big to go in the garages and fit normally with the other vehicles. That's a whole nother topic for another story if the Dune should have been a Pegasus or a non-Pegasus vehicle. But nonetheless, I still think that it's pretty interesting that a crazy glitch like this is happening and that it can actually go inside of the garages. So I don't know if this is intentional, if it was a bug, if it was, some sort of magic that was going on that was causing this. But if this is happening to you, know that it is pretty common and it's been happening to probably more people than you think. Okay, up next, I just want to issue a quick little warning talking about the Vapid Contender. Know that if you buy this vehicle, you're not going to be able to use it in the stunt races. Now, that's not because it isn't stunt ready or anything like that. It's just right now, Rockstar doesn't have any stunt races that are SUV category. So because the stunt race creator isn't out, you won't be able to use the Contender in any of the current stunt races that are in the game. So I figured I would just let you guys know about that right now in case you, for whatever reason, really wanted this car and really wanted to use it with the stunt races. Know that that's not going to happen, likely until one of the creators builds a stunt race for SUVs. SUVs are kind of a less popular category than I can kind of remember. So I don't know how many stunt races will be created for the SUV category in the Contender, but just know for right now, you can't use it in the stunt races because Rockstar hasn't built any SUV-styled stunt races. All right, and finally, last but not least today, let's talk about the price of the Bravado Sprunk Buffalo. So I know a lot of people are going to be asking about it. Why is my friend's car free, but mine is not? So once again, I'm going to reinforce the fact that these stock cars are unique, and they were originally meant for players returning from the 360 and the PS3 who got the game on Xbox One or PS4. That's what they were originally meant for. So if you are one of those players, you get the vehicles for free. And on the website, it should say free. However, if you're not one of those players, the Sprunk Buffalo S is going to cost $535,000. So that's the difference right there. Your friend didn't do anything special. He didn't cheat. He didn't hack. He's just a returning player, and you happen to not be. And that's totally cool. The Sprunk Buffalo S is a nice vehicle. I'm going to be talking about it a little bit later if it's actually worth that $535,000. But nonetheless, that's why you're seeing a difference, and that's why you're seeing maybe some of your friends or your crew members having them for free, and you may not. But anyways, that's all the information that I'm going to be talking about for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy, and hopefully you learned a thing or two about some of the 3 brand new vehicles added in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you did go on to enjoy, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.